just pulled the cards from my new Halloween Oracle deck, and this might be a special message for anybody who needs it. The Underworld. Another realm, shadow-filled travel from death's bed, where we stop and transform within the realm of the dead. The idea of an underworld, a whole realm that we go to after we die, is a concept that crosses a huge variety of cultures and eras. The Sumerians, the Turkish, the Incas, the Greeks, through to the Siberians, the Maori, and the Khmers, all had a distinct word for the underworld. What is different, though, is how these cultures treat this concept, whether the underworld is seen as a place of rest and rejuvenation or horror and punishment. The Christian hell is a place of darkness, fire, and punishment. The Egyptian underworld is one of judgment, peace, and renewal. The Maori culture is an in-between place of waiting, wisdom, and transition. Many myths that mention the underworld often involve the concept of a place waiting and of trials and eventual judgment. It can also be a place of joy and peace. Should the underworld card be present in your reading, you're being asked to consider exactly what you have to do to transform your life into something you find easier or more authentic to you. This may involve changing course. It may involve trials and tests. Keep moving. Whilst things may fall away and your life may appear bare for a time, this is temporary. Space is being made into which you can create the new. Jackolantern. Protection. Oh Jack, let me carve my protection, shine your fire outwards, evil rejection and reflection. Halloween wouldn't be the same without carving of pumpkins into scary jack-o'-lanterns, growing menacingly from porches, dinner tables, and porches everywhere. Jacks actually have a rich history and a spiritual bent. The original term for jack-o'-lantern was a will-o'-the-wisp, an old British term. The will-o'-the-wisp was a small bundle of sticks used as a flame or torch. The Celts, the Irish, and those living in the Scottish Highlands all carved winter vegetables. Not just pumpkins, but also parsnips, carrots, or beets. The time around Samhain, Halloween, was of course when the Fae and the goblins were said to be roaming wild, so the lanterns were intended to be both scaring off the undesirable, and to light the way in the dark. Today, carving pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns has become an art in itself and a true icon of Halloween. Intricate designs, both scary and funny, can be found in almost every home that celebrates the holiday. Both electric light and candles now illuminate the inside of the lanterns. Know that you are protected and that you are capable of creating the life that you want, and the universe supports you in this. Should Jack shine his light upon you, boundaries are important to teach people how to treat us. Drawing this card indicates that you may wish to renew the ones you have or to establish new ones. Skeleton strength. On the outside is flesh, on the inside is bone. There is strength and vulnerability in the power we have grown. Halloween is a scary festival. It is meant to frighten. We are meant to feel the release of being pleasantly scared. We trick or treat even though we know that someone may surprise us. We watch horror films knowing that they will scare us. We even dress as skeletons who have no flesh at all, and their bones are there for all to see. In short, we show our vulnerability at Halloween and our strength in facing our fears too. There is incredible strength in showing vulnerability. It can be often the bravest course of action and the most frightening. More often than not, it's a powerful catalyst for personal growth, even though we may not be able to perceive that at the time. By showing our true selves and displaying some balanced vulnerability, we can seek and receive greater understanding from others. By admitting we are wrong or that we don't have the solutions when we are expected to, we leave more room to turn things around faster. By asking for help and support rather than acting as martyrs and feeling resentful shows strength and wisdom, not weakness. Should the skeleton card bring itself to your attention, dare to show strength and vulnerability, if that's what you really feel. Shame, pride, grudges, or embarrassment are hefty burdens that need not be carried through the darkest of nights. The next card is Vampire, emotional intelligence. The deepest, the coldest, the craving of the blood, the hole never filled, like longing for a flood. Whilst there are almost unaccountable examples of vampires in literature, movies, and games, somehow the archetype of the blood-hunting, night-stalking, and somewhat elegant creature keeps being reinvented to seduce yet another generation. Although the beautiful and somewhat desirable vampire form doesn't really begin to enter the public consciousness until the mid-1800s, the idea of a human feeding upon the very stuff of life is very much older. The Egyptians, Sumerians, Indians, and the Balkan people all have mythos containing vampire-like creatures. The vampire is an interesting figure because it's both horrifying and desirable. Having someone want us so much that the desire to be closely linked with us does feel good, until we realize there's nothing much of us left to give. Most of us have heard the concept of emotional vampirism, the idea that people feed off our energy and our goodwill and take advantage of us through manipulation and their innocent needness. Should the vampire card appear in your reading, it may indicate that you're being drained in this way, and the time has come for stronger boundaries. We need to be very aware of what gives us energy in our lives and what takes it away. We should be aware of needing people to need us and why we invite people into our homes, workplaces, and lives. If indeed we have them around us, developing the emotional intelligence within ourselves to help us defend against this kind of emotional and psychic attack enables us to foster healthy, equal relationships of all kinds. The next one is Lady de los Muertos, Acceptance and Equality. Pale you step out of the night in red lace, full flowers upon your crown. You bring the beauty to death, the equality and joy of the underground. The iconic Lady of Death, with a pale skull-like face, zombie eyes, and rich red funeral flowers in her hair, has become one of the most recognizable symbols of Halloween and the Mexican Day of the Dead, El Dia de los Muertos. The original model for this flamboyant Lady of Death can be traced back to the ancient Aztec goddess Mecatara. As time went on, the figure remained balanced between beauty and horror, and morphed into the Lady of the Dead and eventually into the more modern graphic figure of Katrina. It is also reported that the identity of the original Katrina was based on women who were very rich and had everything they wanted in life. Yet death takes everyone equally, so it was a reminder that no matter how beautiful, rich, popular, or famous you were, in the end, death takes all. The Mexican culture has this long-standing history of laughing at death and seeing it as just another aspect of life. In some ways, death is the last taboo in many Western cultures. We tend to hide away our dying, and some of us may never even see the body of someone who has passed in our whole lives. But this was a much more common occurrence in the past. Acknowledging that death is a natural process that will enter everyone's life at some time, and that perhaps until then we can choose to be the life-affirming takes away much of the fear. Take a light approach to a situation initially. It may work out better if you are holding on to something that does not serve you any longer, in particular material things. Simplify and let it go. The next card is Graveyard, Unnecessary Fear. The stones they mark the eternal resting place, yet the spirits they are walking in there, ready for the chase. Today's modern graveyards are restful places, normally highly manicured and very well set out. Whilst they can be places of profound sadness, few are the creepy Gothic places of old, yet they still hold an undercurrent of fear and seem frightening places. Due to countless stories of haunted graveyards, the thought of walking through cemeteries evokes fear in many of us. We imagine zombies and ghosts rising from the graves and bad spirits hiding out, waiting to harm an unsuspecting living person who walks by. The idea of being at a graveyard after dark, or worse, at midnight, is the stuff of dares and nightmares. But this isn't the way of every culture. On the Mexican Day of the Dead, whole families picnic on the graves of their loved ones who have passed. Children play upon the graves. People play music, drink wine, and share food, all in the company of the dead. Graveyard dust is used as an ingredient in protective spells, not in cures. Pull this card and know that you fear unnecessarily. Things are not as they seem, and you can overcome your obstacles. The anxieties you have, although real, should be put aside before they haunt you long term. Instead, trust that you know the correct next steps and you will act upon them. The next card is the Witch, the earthly weaver of the worlds. Earth, air, fire, water. A woman lovely, a woman strange, weaver of the worlds. Moon's daughter, witch. The catalyst for change. Sorry, my alarm's going off. Witches have had a bad PR day for a couple of millennia now. Originally the healers or cunning women of the village. The very word witch comes from the Celtic word wiki, meaning weaver or wise. When the new religion of Christianity spread through the land, the custodians of the old pagan ways, in part witches, were labeled as evil and, we know from history, persecuted. They were driven underground, or under the night sky, into the shadows of misunderstanding and darkness. However, for the purposes of Halloween, let's look at witches as the weavers of magic and change. Through spells and rituals, and even through herbal recipes, yes, often brewed in a cauldron, they weave the powers of this world, and in the next synergy to solve problems and heal. Holding the witch card means that you can weave your own change throughout your life, and that magic is indeed afoot. You must understand that you have power and it is real. It may also indicate that others may be threatened by your developing personal power, and that they may not appreciate or like the changes as you grow. Be prepared for this and do not be discouraged. New friends and better opportunities will be attracted instead. The next card is Night Song, Hidden Talents. A ruby red bird singing in the darkness full of sound, like an unopened present, ribbons still abound. A bird singing at night is an unusual occurrence, and those birds who are known as singers of the darkness are almost always considered sacred or frightening. From the operatic nightingale through the hooting owl, hearing a bird that you cannot see weaving its magic through the night sky has captivated humans for millennia. In the past, at Halloween time, a night that the veil between the worlds was said to be at its thinnest. These night birds were considered either omens or messengers of the gods. Depending on the culture, their voices were perceived as good luck and a positive validation, or alternatively a warning about a continued on a certain pathway. In some mythology, the night bird was able to direct us towards discovering our talents and true purpose, a kind of guide in the darkness leading us to the dawn. Should this beautiful but shy bird sing to you by appearing during your divination, know that you must unwrap the present of yourself. Look, some of the gifts within you remain unopened. Time has come to step into your true potential and claim all possibilities for yourself. There is no time to waste, no more excuses. And the next card is Black Cat. Sleek and black and lantern-eyed, crosses your path with a hiss. Good luck and fortune sweep by with a kiss. In traditional folklore, cats were said to have one foot in this world and one in the next. They were the conduit between the underworld and this world, and fortune and opportunity. In the times of the Inquisition, the Middle Ages, cats were hunted because they were said to be allies of evil entities such as devils and witches. Black cats, black being associated with the darker aspects of the supernatural, were especially singled out. Historians believe the unprecedented killing of the cats in the name of eradicating evil led to an unchecked increase in the rat population, which was responsible for the alarmingly rapid spread of the bubonic plague and the death of millions of people. These days, in Germany, for example, a black cat passing one's path indicates impending misfortune. Yet in ancient Britain, they were considered good luck, and they were even given to brides on their wedding day. In Japan, to this day, they are considered very good luck and bringers of fortune. Should the slinky black cat cross your path through this oracle, know that good luck and fortune will be meeting you promptly. Also know that your luck will be even luckier if you are prepared to take advantage of every special opportunity that comes your way. And the last card is Skull of Darkness, Blind Spots. We may not wish to delve there in the shadows, the darkness, the unknown, yet when we search, we reveal in our power it has grown. The beautiful and mysterious Skull of Darkness encourages us to look to the part of ourselves that normally remains hidden or as unseen as possible. We may not appreciate or like certain aspects of ourselves, and yet sometimes our greatest treasures lie within these areas. How many times have you heard of famous artists or people extremely successful in their fields being bullied for being so different, yet it is their very differences from others that makes them so powerful. Additionally, all of us at some stage of life have certain blind spots that may cause us grief and trouble. Although we cannot see the issue clearly, it's the repeated patterns of pain that may alert us to them. Symptoms, if you will. For example, the same things that keep happening over and over again. We may be betrayed repeatedly, fail at something repeatedly, not complete tasks continually. Peace and pattern breaking can be achieved by doing the work and uncovering our blind spots, or even consulting trusted close friends or professionals to assist us to see what we cannot. And that is the reading, and that is from my new deck, the Halloween Oracle. And this is the first reading that I've done from this deck, and I cleansed it, and that is the reading. Thank you very much. And just so you can see the cards, these are the cards. These are very cool cards. Thank you so much.